on our website.
Wonderful.
Yeah, in fact, we have a consortium that is called as Indian Network for Internationalization of Higher Education.
I see.
And this consortium we established last year only. And the objective was to promote and handhold the universities, those who were aspiring for the internationalization, but they do not have the technical know-how.
Well, would you,
So now
later,
we
tomorrow
are
perhaps,
creating,
please send me a link to it so that I can join it too, if
definitely, sir.
possible, unless.
Yes, I will do that. Certainly, I will do
Thank you.
that, sir. And in fact, Madam has joined. Madam, good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Pane. Good evening, Dr. Lakhtakia.
Good evening, Dr. Mittal. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? And thanks for joining. We are so grateful to you.
Oh, my privilege to be able to address so many people in India about this important venture.
Yes.
Hello.
So you're right now at what place?
Ma'am, actually, ma'am, sorry to intervene. हम लोग आपको ना एक बैनर भेजे हैं जो इंटरनेशनल एजुकेशन वीक सेलिब्रेशन, जैसे आप प्रोफेसर अखिलेश साहब की बैक में देख रहे हैं ना, आपको भी भेजे हैं. आप चाहें तो आप बैकग्राउंड चेंज कर सकते हैं.
Yes, इसमें हमारा लोगो नहीं है पर.
यस मैडम, हाँ इसमें नहीं है, वो एक्चुअली आज उन्होंने भेजा. और मैडम मेरे ठीक आ रहे हैं, दिख रहे हैं पीछे से बैनर? हाँ, क्योंकि मुझे यहाँ से मिरर इमेज दिख रहा है ना, मुझे एग्जैक्ट इन्वर्टेड बैनर दिख रहा है.
नहीं, it is right.
It looks fine.
Oh, thank you, sir.
That's fine. Yeah.
Thank you. We have reached half century, sir.
Well, we need a couple of centuries tomorrow.
Yes, sir. I think madam has also put lots of effort, and we have promoted it on several platforms. Even I found interesting thing is that from Aligarh Muslim University, I saw a Twitter, and they have put their logo on the top and the left side logo of AIU and right side logo of American Center, and they have tweeted it.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, the more people get to know about it, the better.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I guess it's time now.
Another 2 minutes. Shall we wait or shall we move, ma'am?
We can wait for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Carly is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, hello.
Oh, hi, Kali. How are you?
Hi, very nice to see you. Happy International Education Week, Dr. Mittal.
Thank you. Same to you. Same to all of us.
I was not able um, to use this beautiful background on my device, so I'm stuck here with my messy office in the background. I'm very jealous. It's looking good.
It's your banner which we are using.
Hmm?
It's your banner which we are using.
Yeah, so it seems a bit unfair, huh? But I may switch to my phone in a little bit. We'll see.
No issues.
It's
No
nice to
issues.
see so many people have joined.
Yes. That's why we wanted to give 2-3 more minutes so that more people are able to join. I think Baniji, you can start.
Okay, ma'am. Because initially, few minutes we will keep engage the things and we'll move. So let's start formally, ma'am. Then good
Yes.
evening. Yeah, very good evening. Honorable Secretary General, Association of Indian Universities, Madam Dr. Pankaj Mittal, esteemed Speaker, Professor Akhlesh Lakhtakia from USA, and our colleagues from American Center, Dr. Gauri, Dr. Neetu, and Madam Kelly Van Urban from American Center. Dear colleagues, I extend a warm welcome to each one of you to this important initiative, important webinar on the Indo-US partnership, especially on the theme launched on education partnership between India and US, launching an innovative professional master's degree program. This webinar is being organized under the INHI consortium. INHI is Indian Network for Internationalization of Higher Education. It is a consortium established by Association of Indian Universities last year, and the objective was to promote and handhold the universities having aspiration to move towards internationalization, but they lack technical know-how and support. So that was the prime objective of INHI consortium. And thanks to Madam Dr. Mittal for her leadership and initiative, and we have been successful to bring a few members in the portal of INHI. And coinciding the celebration of the International Education Week by the United States Department and Education Department of United States. Actually, this program, US State Department has launched a program that is aligning with India's NEP. It's a one-year professional master's degree program, and this aims to offer Indian students a one-year specialized master's degree opportunity in American universities. And this move enhances the US-India ties, fostering collaborative growth in education. I'm sure this innovative concept, especially the chief architect of which is Professor Akhlesh Lakhtakia, and we are privileged indeed to invite him to be the speaker of this occasion. And in fact, this coincides with the International Education Week that is being celebrated from November 13 to 17 of 2023 in the current year. This is an opportunity to celebrate the benefits of international education and exchange worldwide. This joint initiative of the United States Department of State and United States Department of Education is an effort to promote programs that prepare Americans for a global environment and attract future leaders from abroad to study, learn, and exchange experiences. And this is the small background. And I request Dr. Pankaj Mittal Madam to extensively provide the background of this webinar. And before that, ladies and gentlemen, let me present our Secretary General, Honorable Dr. Mittal. As you know, Dr. Mittal brings with her more than 3 to 4 decades of experience in educational leadership. Previously, she was the Additional Secretary to UGC, and she has also served 2 tenures, successful tenure as the Vice Chancellor of the BPS Women's University, Sonipat, Haryana. Madam is a very, very dynamic leader in the educational administration, and she has taken a lot of initiative after joining AIU, and she has, in fact, lots of laurels to her credit, and the list is unending. but without taking much more time, as Madam is much more familiar in the higher education circle. So I request Madam to please share the introductory remarks, then we will proceed further.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Pani. Thank you very much. A very warm welcome to all of you. It is so good to see so many of you participating in this webinar, and wish you a very, very happy International Education Day. Congratulations for the International Education Week, which the whole week we are celebrating. And thanks to Professor Akhlesh Lakhtakia for agreeing to come and talk to our people for this particular webinar. And thanks to American Center, and thanks to Carly for organizing this particular program, especially thanks to Divya, who is not here today, but who took the initiative for organizing this particular webinar. So as you all know, that Association of Indian Universities is the largest university association of the world, with about 982 universities as its member. This is the largest one. And the second oldest one. We are going to celebrate our centenary in 2025. And we are doing a lot many things for the university fraternity, whether it is teachers or vice chancellors or the students. And we are engaging with all of them at various levels in various programs, be it culture, be it sports, be it research, be it equivalence of foreign degrees with the Indian degrees. But the recent initiative which we have taken last year is establishing this Indian network of international higher education. The purpose of this particular network is that, like NAFSA, which is a network in USA, India doesn't have or did not have a network which could sort of network international educators. So therefore, we have established this. And the basic purpose is that many times, many of our universities, because you know that India is a large country and a very, very diverse country. So some of our universities are very good in internationalization, but some are not. And we also know, I mean, it is a fact which cannot be hidden, that the number of international students which are coming to India is very low right now, around 48, 49,000. But the numbers who go out of India is more than 1 million. So there is a lot of mismatch between the students going out of the country and students coming within the country. So internationalization is something which is very, very important for us. And the national education policy has given a lot of impetus to internationalization. And therefore, we felt that it is our duty to help our universities, because many of our universities are such that they want to do internationalization, they don't want to do partnerships, they want to run some programs, international programs, but they don't know how to do it, whom to approach, whom to collaborate with, whom to talk about all these things, what are the initial steps for going into or promoting internationalization on their campuses. So therefore, we thought we should establish this INHI, that is Indian Network of International Higher Education, where we can be sort of promoting internationalization in a big way. It could be through holding webinars like this. It could be hand-holding the universities. It could be facilitating the universities in forging partnerships with the international universities. It could be in terms of dual degrees, joint degrees, research partnerships, student exchange, teacher exchange. So a lot many activities we are wanting to do through this INHI, which is a network established by AIU. So today, under that INHI banner, we are holding this center in collaboration with the American Center, which is titled Education Partnership between India and the US, launching an innovative professional master's program. And we are happy that we could get Professor Akhlesh Lakhtakia for this, because he himself is the architect of this program, which is a professional program with a lot of industrial specialization. Because once industrial specialization is there, it makes it very, very innovative and professional program. So professional master degree with industrial specialization is something which he'll be talking about. Not only about that program, he'll also be talking about forging partnerships between Indian and US universities, how to forge partnerships. That is something which every Indian university is eager to know, that how to have partnerships between Indian and foreign universities, especially US universities. So we welcome Professor Akhlesh Lakhtakia for this webinar. I'm sure Dr. Pani would be introducing Professor Lakhtakia in detail about his credentials and how many things he has done in the past, what are his achievements in the past, that he'll be telling you. But then welcome, Professor Lakhtakia, and thanks for agreeing to our request. And welcome to this particular webinar. Over to Dr. Pani for introducing Professor Lakhtakia.
Ma'am, thank you very much. Very excellently putting the background of this webinar and discussing the things the way it was desired. And with this, let me go to Madam Carly Van Orban. Let me, before introducing and before requesting her to speak a few words, let me introduce Madam Carly Van Orban. She is a United States Department of Foreign Service officer responsible for education and emerging voices at the US Embassy, United States Embassy in New Delhi. Madam Carly has previously served in Kampala, Almaty, Freetown, and Paris in addition to Washington, D.C. The most interesting part is that Madam Kelly is a former attorney and an actor too, with a passion for musical theater. So, Madam, you bring with you a plethora of experiences. I request you to please share a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Pani. And yes, thank you to all participants. Happy International Education Week. This week is marked by the release of the Open Doors Report. It's an information product that our partner organization, IIE, puts together each year, and it reflects the number of students who are traveling both to other countries and to the United States. This year, India, for the third year in a row, has broken records. And about 270,000 Indian students are in the United States from the 2022-2023 year, a record number. Second still to China, but other sources of data and our consular adjudications suggest that India is already well in the lead and has surpassed China. Certainly they're in the lead for the number of graduate students in the United States. And all indicators are that the number of students traveling from India to the United States is just going to continue to grow. I think I think India deserves tremendous congratulations for this success. It's a success for individual families and for the choice that they're making to invest in the family, in the community, in the future. It's sometimes a tremendous financial investment from the families. It reflects the success of India as a whole, an educational system that has prepared its students to compete on a global platform, to win spots at very prestigious universities in many instances, winning them out over perhaps US students or students from other countries. It shows the wealth of India and the strength of Indian families to be able to finance the education. But all in all, it's just a tremendous success story for the country. US universities, Dr. Lakhtakia may talk about this a bit. While they certainly appreciate student fees, one thing that often surprises my counterparts around the world is really that US universities are not motivated by money, but by other concerns, by true belief in wanting to have an educated world, in wanting to do right by their students, by their faculty, and are really motivated to spread learning. The United States is very, very interested in supporting bringing more US students to India. The numbers have never been that high. I think last year's numbers were something like 16 students, according to the Open Doors report. I suspect they were a little bit higher than that, but those were COVID-related numbers. But they've never been more than a few thousand in a given year. It's a real priority for our ambassador, who studied in India as a young man, and for all of us here in the US mission to see more US students coming to India. And that presents an opportunity for all of your institutions. Right now, we've engaged 2 US universities to conduct research into what motivates US students to choose study abroad programs and what could motivate them to choose India over other countries. That's something that will be conducted over these next few months. And we hope to have more information about that in the spring. Perhaps we can convene again and share that with this audience. We're also interested in balancing the numbers from India and seeing more women travel to the United States. Currently, roughly a third of Indian students who travel to the US are women, and we would love to see equal numbers of men and women. I wanted to offer special thanks and congratulations Dr. Pani, Dr. Mittal, AIU, I almost said AAU, which is something else we may talk about this evening, but AIU has demonstrated tremendous leadership in the activities that you do and the programs that you've chosen to focus on, bringing together this network of individuals interested in internationalization. There has been such a need for it, such a hunger. You can tell by the number of participants, by the passion with which people speak about their internationalization efforts. We have observed, even in my short time in the country, I've observed a lot of movement from people pointing simply to the number of trips that they've made abroad, or MOUs even that they've signed, to the more substantive engagement that their institutions are having with others. And I think that is the key to so much potential success. As I said, US universities are not, they appreciate student fees, but are motivated by many other things than money. And I think another reflection of that, in addition to our promoting US student travel to India, is promoting programs that are more affordable to Indians, and where US universities are sharing a study abroad opportunity with Indian institutions. And so that is our focus here tonight. Thank you, AIU, for your leadership. And Dr. Lakhtakia has done a tremendous job. He was engaged as a Jefferson Science Fellow, a prestigious fellowship sponsored by the US Department of State. And in that role brought his expertise from many decades working in the university atmosphere, understanding India's particular interests in the landscape. And he has gone around and done a lot of information collection, speaking to many professors and academics, administrators about their needs and about what could make a difference for them in their institutions, and has done a lot of individual matchmaking. So he both understands the bigger picture, the changes in regulations that have enabled us to get to this point, the implementation of the NEP and some of the recent UGC regulatory updates, understands the landscape of what is currently possible, and also has a lot of vision for what else might be possible as we think about ways that we may connect. So thank you all for creating this opportunity, and I will now leave you in the very good hands of Dr. Lakhtakia to tell us more about some of these possibilities.
Thank you so much, Madam Kelly. It was wonderful to listen to you indeed. In fact, in the last 1.5 decades, the India and the US relationship has really reached the new heights, and we have taken lots of initiative to strengthen the ties. And this initiative is definitely going to bolster the network and the ties with the US government and education sector. With this, let me present the distinguished speaker today, and to whom we are eager to listen. In fact, Professor Akhlesh Lakhtakia is the chief architect of this one-year innovative professional master's degree program launched by the US Department of Education. Professor Lakhtakia, in fact, is a very big man, and he has an illustrious career. And I have just picked up a few petals, a few points from his long biodata. Let me just introduce him. Professor Lakhtakia, an academic of eminence, an avid speaker, a celebrated professor, and a technocrat in engineering, a technocrat and a professional in engineering sciences, brings with him an illustrious career spanning more than 4 decades of both teaching and research. Professor Lakhtakia is the Evan Pugh University professor and Charles Godfrey Binder Professor of Engineering Science and Mechanics at Pennsylvania State University. His research interests and the areas are electromagnetic fields in complex materials such as sculptured thin films, chiral materials, bionisotropy, and industrial scalable bioreplication. Professor Akhlesh obtained his bachelor's BTech, Bachelor's of Technology degree in Electronic Engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Varanasi in 1979. and thereafter a master's degree in science and Doctor of Philosophy degree in electrical engineering from University of Utah, USA in 1981 and 83 respectively. Professor Akhlesh has published more than 840 journal articles and has contributed 27 chapters to research books and encyclopedias. He has edited, co-edited, authored, and co-authored more than 17 books and 20 conference proceedings. Professor Akhlesh has reviewed more than 150 journals. He serves on the editorial boards of 4 electromagnetic journals. He was the editor-in-chief of the international journal Speculations in Science and Technology from 1993 to 95, and he became the first editor-in-chief of the online journal of Nanophotonics, published by Society of Photographic Instrumentation Engineers. He has been honored with several awards, and out of the unending list of laurels he has brought, let me just pronounce a few of them. He received Penn State Engineering Scholarship Outstanding Research Award in 1996 and PSES Premier Research Award in 2008, PSES Outstanding Advising Award in 2005, PSES Outstanding Technical Award Teaching Award in 2016, Faculty Scholar Medal in Engineering in 2005. Then Professor Akhlesh is a Google Scholar with 32,539 citations. Is a huge citation in number, out of which 76 are in H index and 718 are in I-10 index. He has another many feathers to his cap. So to shorten his biodata, I can only say that the most interesting part is that Professor Akhlesh is the chief architect who has designed the one-year innovative professional master's degree launched by United States. And with these few words, I request Professor Akhlesh to share his presentation and enlighten us with his insights. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
I have to do something, I know. Wonderful. Great. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mittal and Dr. Pani, and Ms. Van Orman. Thank you so much for saying all those wonderful things about me, and I had difficulty recognizing myself. If I hear more of you, I guess I'll get a very swollen head soon. But anyhow, let's talk about this educational partnership. I need to clean up something here. Yes, okay. So, good afternoon, India. Good morning in the continental United States. Where is it? And thank you for tuning to my talk today, all of you. I'm so glad that November 14th was chosen for this activity. There are 2 reasons for that. The first, because it is the birthday of India's first Minister of Scientific Research. And the second, that it is not November 15th, or most of you would be glued to a television set instead of your laptop. Now, is it not moving? As the chair of the US-India Higher Education Partnerships Committee, I am very grateful to both the Association of Indian Universities and the American Center New Delhi for giving me this opportunity to address university leaders from all over India during the International Education Week. President Sharma and Secretary General Mittal here have already introduced to you the background for this webinar from the Indian perspective, and Ms. Van Orman from the US perspective. The US-India partnership in higher education, particularly in STEM disciplines, is several decades old. I'm an example, and it is currently developing very nicely. But you have seen nothing yet. This partnership will be transformative. affecting some 2 billion people in the two largest democracies on the planet. And therefore, it will transform the entire planet. I've been asked to tell you about the creation of a pathway for professional master degrees in STEM disciplines. And since I'm going to tell you a story, I can do no better than to heed the advice of Lewis Carroll, that I should begin at the beginning and continue till I reach the end, and then I should stop. I'm a professor of engineering science and mechanics at the Pennsylvania State University. In 2021, I decided to apply to the Jefferson Science Fellowship Program at the US Department of State, which is equivalent to the Indian Ministry of External Affairs. This 21-year-old program is named after the third president of the United States. It engages university professors in STEM and medical disciplines in the US to the US foreign policy and international development process through a one-year immersive experience at the US Department of State and the US Agency for International Development. After my selection to this fellowship, I was informed by the Bureau of South and Central Asian Affairs in the Department of State that India had approved a new national education policy in July 2020. As this policy aims to internationalize the Indian educational ecosystem, there would be new opportunities for US universities to actively and comprehensively engage with Indian higher education institutions in both education and research. Would I consent to become the NEP 2020 Sarathi, to use a Sanskrit word, for the Department of State as a Jefferson Science Fellow? The focus would be on post-secondary education. Appreciating the transformative potential of this assignment, I readily agreed. So for the next 5 months, I studied the NEP 2020, spoke to faculty members at more than 20 Indian institutions of higher education, mostly in STEM disciplines, and I also consulted a fairly large number of colleagues at US, Canadian, British, and Australian institutions of higher education. I also spoke to personnel at the National Skills Development Corporation and Gift City. My aim was to identify ways in which US institutions could engage vigorously with India and her institutions in relatively short order. The result was a document that I will be happy to supply anyone interested. This document provides the background and the context for the innovative master degree program that I will tell you about soon. I'm going to begin with some facets of the Indian educational ecosystem and what is its major need. And the reason for doing that is that although most of the listeners are in India and therefore know the Indian ecosystem, there are certainly some from the United States, and I know at least one has joined from Spain. I will tell you then about the features of NEP 2020 from a US perspective. This policy provides non-Indian universities two kinds of opportunities to engage with the Indian educational ecosystem. The first kind relates to the training of Indian academic personnel for capacity enhancement. The second is focused on instruction and research. Then I will tell you about opportunities for US and Indian universities to collaborate. Next, I will discuss the possibilities for US universities to open campuses in India. I will then tell you about the global role that STEM disciplines are increasingly playing. And I'll conclude with strategic recruitment of Indian students for professional master degree programs in STEM disciplines at US universities that make use of advantageous features of institutions in both countries to benefit the people of both countries. Now, the Indian educational ecosystem is huge. Examination of its population shows that every year, 25 million people are being added, and this annual cohort is unlikely to diminish for the next 30 years. The gross enrollment ratio for grades 11 and 12 is 57%. That means about 43% of Indian students don't avail of higher secondary education. In the 18 to 23 year age group, the gross enrollment ratio is 27.3%. In comparison, that ratio is 51% in mainland China and 88% in United States. An increase from 27% presently to 50% in 2035 is the stated aim of the government of India in NEP 2020. Think of the grade 13 cohort. It has 25 million people, but only 6.75 million go for post-secondary education. So the current shortfall from the 2035 goal is 5.75 million. That is a huge number. Now, India had roughly 18,000 higher education institutions in the year 2006. That number rose to 42,000 in 2018. Very impressive growth. 74% of all new higher education institutions worldwide sprouted in India. In 2020-2021, India had 1,100 universities, 44,000 colleges, and 11,000 specialized standalone institutions. Impressive as these numbers are, a strategic upscaling of higher education facilities and personnel is necessary. India needs a doubling of the educational infrastructure and personnel by 2035 to enable doubling of the gross enrollment ratio for post-secondary education. The new National Education Policy of India came into force in April 2022. It aims to revolutionize the Indian educational system. And for the last 1 year, I have watched constant proclamations from the University Grants Commission of India trying to implement various facets of this policy. Now, this policy has some very interesting features, very welcome features. The new policy is student-centered. Students can design their own academic experiences, subject, of course, to some reasonable restrictions. Control of higher education institutions has been decentralized so that a student can receive the same academic credit regardless of where they studied. And this is something very important for Indo-US collaborative activity in education, higher education. The student can simultaneously engage with multiple disciplines and enroll for 2 degrees at the same time. This also will assist India-US collaborations in higher education. And there is finally an emphasis on contemporary interpretations of India's civilizational values. The Indian universities will grant 1-year certificates, 2-year diplomas, 3-year bachelor degrees followed by 2-year master degrees, or 4-year bachelor degrees followed by 1-year master degrees and doctorates. The integrated programs are there. Integrated BS, MS programs, and even BS to PhD programs are also permitted. This policy provides US universities and other non-Indian universities opportunities to educate Indian personnel for capacity enhancement, including internationalization of Indian campuses. This new policy also provides US universities opportunities to engage with Indian students and institutions on instructional and research activities. Capacity enhancement encompasses organizational leadership, administration, infrastructure design, learning technologies, and multidisciplinary alliances that transcend disciplinary silos. I cannot emphasize the last point, overemphasize it, because it is only at the boundaries of disciplines that new products and new sciences and transformative issues arise. In addition, the new policy envisages India's higher education institutions to have a global outlook and a cosmopolitan atmosphere, much like US universities. Finally, These institutions must serve the public in local communities, the state, and the country. A professional cadre must be created, not to supplant Indian professors in these administrative roles for traditional 3-year stints, but to effectively assist them. US institutions can create professional certificate programs in campus leadership, campus administration, campus infrastructure, learning technologies, alliance building, international alliance building, and operations to facilitate and maintain internationalized campuses. These courses can be delivered online or through distance learning by a US university to a cohort of administrative personnel from an Indian institution. The two institutions, the US and the Indian institution, could negotiate the rate and schedule of payment of fees and other necessary issues. If a person completes a certain suite of professional certificates, either the US institution or the Indian institution could grant that person a professional master degree. Another type of credential could be a professional doctorate, like a doctor of education or a doctor of educational administration degree. There can be more specialized versions, such as doctor of science education. These professional doctorates would require 2 years of online courses delivered by a US university to a cohort at an Indian institution. The program would require the enrolled persons to spend the 3rd year at the US campus to take some practice-oriented courses and complete a research project. The professional doctorate would be granted by the US university. And again, fees and other issues have to be negotiated for each cohort between the US and the Indian partner. The national education policy has opened several new ways for non-Indian higher education institutions to undertake instructional and research activities in the Indian educational ecosystem. And US universities are very well poised to do that. Perhaps the most attractive opportunities are collaborative, in that they require an Indian and a US university to formulate and implement academic programs together. Then there are opportunities for a US university to start a campus in India. Let me begin with the collaborative modalities. An Indian university and a US university can jointly operate twinning programs, joint degree programs, and dual degree programs. All 3 modalities have some common features. First and foremost, there are eligibility conditions for both partners. The US university must be highly rated in a recognized ranking system and suitably accredited, and similar requirements must be fulfilled by the Indian partner. Both partners must execute a detailed memorandum of agreement. There are public disclosure requirements on both partners. They have to disclose the program requirements, tuition, and other financial obligations, and the curricular framework must be disclosed on the internet. Compliance with India's Foreign Currency Regulation Act and Foreign Exchange Management Act is required by the Government of India. The legal jurisdiction for dispute resolution is also India. Importantly, the mode of instruction must be conventional, that is, face-to-face in a classroom and/or laboratory. Online and distance education courses are largely forbidden. If there are research opportunities, then each student must have 2 research advisors, one from each of the 2 partnering institutions. Each of the 3 types of collaborative programs has its distinctive features as well. First, twinning programs. The Indian partner admits its students and grants them a credential, either a certificate or a diploma or a degree, after completion of its requirements. The US partner admits its students and grants them a credential after completion of its requirements. Each institution issues academic transcripts to every student in the twinning program, indicating that the credits awarded by that institution to that student. every student must acquire at least 70% of the academic credits from the institution to which the student was admitted. The student must spend at least one semester at each of the two institutions. The research thesis must be submitted only to the institution which admitted the student. For the dual degree program, the student must be admitted separately by both partners for exactly the same degree. That is, both partners must separately award a bachelor degree to the student, or both must separately award the master degree, or both must separately award the doctoral degree. Every student must acquire at least 30% of the academic credits from each of the two institutions. So we are talking about real and meaningful collaboration here. The student must spend at least one semester in residence at each of the two institutions, and both institutions must issue a transcript indicating the location of each course. The same research thesis may be submitted to both institutions. For a joint degree program, both institutions must admit a student jointly, and the degree must be granted jointly as well. One document with signatures of competent authorities from both institutions. They must issue a transcript each to the student indicating the location of each course. And other requirements are the same as for the dual degree program, but except for the fact that the same research thesis must be submitted to both institutions for joint assessment. I think that the India-US joint degree programs for master and doctoral degrees are difficult, will be very difficult to manage, unlikely to succeed, because the procedure to opt to evaluate research theses in the two countries are very different. But dual degree programs and twinning programs have a high chance of success. Now, twinning programs can encompass students transferring from an Indian university to a US university in a programmed fashion for the last 1 or 2 years of a bachelor degree program. The US university awards the bachelor degree. The Indian university may or may not award a separate degree. Some students could finish 3 years in India, spend the 4th year in USA, acquire bachelor degrees from both universities, and then go on for a master degree at the same US university. This transfer model can be made cost-effective if the Indian university enters into an arrangement not only with a US university, but jointly with a 2-year college in the United States. 2-year colleges in the US are often called community colleges and are noted for much lower tuition fees and other expenses. For your information, I have provided the URL of an organization called Community Colleges for International Development. This organization has a representative on the US-India Higher Education Partnerships Committee, which I chair, and this organization's principals will be all too eager to talk to Indian universities about creating these partnerships, a partnership between the US university, a US community college, and the Indian university. The transfer model, So now for more than 15 months now, reports of US-India collaborations are appearing in the news media. Foreign universities are now also allowed to open campuses in India. 2 different kinds of locations are possible. A location of the first kind is in a special economic zone, currently exemplified by Gift City in Gujarat. The second type of locations are in the rest of India. Regardless of the kind of location, the foreign university must be ranked highly in a recognized ranking system. The program requirements, tuition, and other financial obligations, and the curricular framework must be disclosed on the internet. For a campus in a special economic zone, the supervisory authority is the agency contracted by the government of India to operate that special economic zone. certificates, diplomas, and all three types of degrees can be offered, but only in STEM subjects, financial management, and financial technology. The foreign university is exempt from the Foreign Currency Regulation Act, and it can use therefore freely convertible currencies, and it can transfer profits out of India. The legal jurisdiction for resolving disputes is to be decided by the agency operating the special economic zone. Periodically, some fees have to be paid to that agency, but the sums are not exorbitant. At a campus anywhere else in India, the foreign university can award any type of academic credentials on completion of a program. There is no significant restriction on the types of academic disciplines in which a credential can be awarded, except that the University Grants Commission must approve beforehand. Online and distance learning courses are prohibited. The faculty members can be from India or they can be non-Indians. There are no restrictions on admission criteria and fee structure, but the courses, the credentials, and the faculty members must be of the same stature and quality as at the home campus of the foreign university. However, unlike the campus in a special economic zone, this campus is subject to Foreign Currency Contribution Act and Foreign Exchange Management Act of India, and the local jurisdiction for dispute resolution is India. And now let me discuss a key issue. There is a global demand for STEM talent to maintain technological superiority and hence an economic edge. The world needs a high-tech skilled workforce in electronics, photonics, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, molecular biology, and so on. This demand was recognized in 2021 by a joint statement of principles of the US Departments of State and Education. This statement of principles announced a renewed US commitment to international education. Why? Because research and innovation engendered by international students and faculty members have traditionally strengthened higher education. They have benefited the US population and they have enhanced national security. And international education is good for the US economy. As this graph shows you, international education contributed about $48 million to the US economy in 2019. Even after the COVID downturn, it still contributed $38 million in 2022 and is expected to rise to $41 billion, my mistake, $41 billion in 2023. Strike out all the millions, make it all billions. 48 billion, 38 billion, and 41 billion in 2023. And when you're talking about billions, well, these are not small potatoes. Therefore, 4 departments of the US government are coordinating on an international education strategy. Unsurprisingly, the international education strategy appears in the US-India Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology. Let me read out a passage to you from that. President Biden and Prime Minister Modi announced the US-India Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology in May 2022 to elevate and expand our strategic technology partnership and defense industrial cooperation between the governments, businesses, and now the most important part for me, academic institutions of our 2 countries. In June 2023, a joint statement was issued by both countries. Let me again read out a passage here. President Biden and Prime Minister Modi hailed the growing bilateral education partnership between the United States and India. Indian students are on pace to soon become the largest foreign student community in the United States. I think that's poised to happen in 2024, if it has not already happened. Now, this professional master degree pathway calls for the collaborative recruitment by US universities of self-funded STEM students from Indian universities for getting these professional master degrees. The Indian student either has obtained a bachelor degree from the Indian partner or will spend the 4th year at the US partner campus in a dual or joint degree program. Thereafter, the student will join the US partner for a 12 months professional master degree program. The program could be specialized in semiconductor processing, nanotechnology, photonics, display technology, communication systems, renewable energy, additive manufacturing, artificial intelligence applications, cybersecurity, unmanned microvehicles, quantum engineering, geospatial informatics, telemedicine, genetic medicine, food processing technology, and so on. In all respects, a professional master degree should be equivalent to a regular master degree. The credit requirements should be the same. However, the coursework must be practice-oriented with heavy emphasis on appropriate laboratory work, culminating in a capstone project. In the Indian context, the holder of a professional master degree would be eligible to apply for entrance to appropriate doctoral degree programs in India, should they choose to do so. Collaborative agreements between US and Indian universities will ensure the recruitment of high caliber students whose courses at their Indian university have been specially enriched in order to enable their participation in this program at the US university. The students will be self-funded. In fact, Indian lenders will find it attractive to provide loans of $60,000 per person in a cohort going for a professional master degree in a high-tech area. Plus, the families of many Indian students could also fund this investment partially or wholly. A recent article in the Financial Express states that Indian students borrow about $50,000 for a master's program at a US university. And here is an advertisement from an Indian lender offering amounts of even $90,000. Therefore, I thought that the maximum cost should not exceed $60,000 for a 12-month program at most major universities that are not situated in megacities. US regulations have recently been changed to grant an optional practical training extension at an industrial setting for 3 years to STEM graduates, which would be very attractive to self-funded students. The median annual salary for these STEM OPT students is about $90,000 nowadays, which means that significant repayment of the $60,000 loan during 3 years is definitely possible. Starting a professional master program will require some investments on the part of the American partner. Suppose that the initial cohort comprises 15 self-funded students from, say, 2 Indian institutions. The US institution may have to hire a couple of professors of practice. Some equipment may have to be purchased or upgraded because these degrees must be industrially attractive, must be industrially relevant. And both of these will require a lead time to start the program. Provision must also be made for maintenance and upgrade of equipment. And planning will be necessary for annual growth of enrollment between the partnering institutions, and perhaps even new partners may be added. What will be the benefits to the US university? Most importantly, the tuition and other fees that the self-funded Indian students will pay that will benefit the US university. In addition, the local economy will benefit from their food, housing, travel, and other expenses. Some professional master's degree holders may join PhD programs. And also, the courses developed for these programs may attract students from other streams. That includes, of course, students who would be at the US university anyway. What will be the benefits to the Indian university? Well, with a programmed mode of student mobility to a higher professional level, the Indian university will have increased attractiveness. Already, private Indian universities advertise student mobility programs to attract students. The prerequisite courses in the final year of the bachelor degree program will create educational linkages with US faculty members, and those will surely lead to joint research programs. In fact, the National Science Foundation of the United States and Indian agencies that includes the Science and Engineering Research Board and the Ministry of MEITY, I'm sorry what that means, I don't remember what that means, okay, have recently announced joint research programs, funded joint research programs. So both faculty members from both Indian and the US partners are going to benefit. I'm very optimistic about the professional master's degrees because Indian students in the United States have a marked preference for master degrees. This is borne out by statistical data. In September this year, some 316,000 Indians were enrolled at a college or a university in the United States. You can see that 79% of them were enrolled for a master's degree. Now, this data is for all degrees in all disciplines. But if I specialize to STEM disciplines, then we find that 253,000 Indians that were studying for a master's degree, out of that, 243,000 were enrolled for a STEM discipline. Well, by the way, these numbers include those who are actually on campus as well as on STEM OPT extension. So the professional master degree program is a 12 months on-campus program with an industrially attractive focus, costing about $60,000 and making the graduate eligible for a 3-year STEM OPT extension with a median annual salary of about $90,000. Recruitment of an annual cohort from an Indian university to a US university brings down recruitment costs, builds relationships between the two sets of faculty members, and will inevitably lead to research partnerships. As George Gershwin wrote, who could ask for anything more? For its part, the US government has opened a consulate in Hyderabad in 2023. This is the 5th US consulate in India. The 6th is planned to be opened in Bengaluru. The student visa process has been put on fast track. 90,000 student visas were given to Indian citizens in summer 23. Finally, students can apply for a visa as much as 1 year before the beginning of the program in the United States. And this you can see that in the past year, United States government has taken significant actions to promote the arrival of Indian graduate students at US universities, undergraduates too. Now, several US and Indian universities are exploring professional master degree programs collaboratively. A few agreements have already been signed to my knowledge, but I cannot disclose any examples without their permission. However, last night I was permitted to disclose the University of Dayton in Ohio has established a 12 months on-campus professional MS degree program with student cohorts expected to start in fall 2024. And they are in the process of finalizing MOUs with 3 Indian institutions, IIT Patna, Vellore Institute of Technology, and Shulani University. So you can already see that this program, this pathway is being implemented on. And I imagine that in the next few months, there will be many more such agreements signed. I think that because of the time crunch and because universities can start operating only in the fall semester on a program like this, many, many more students will come in fall 2025 than in fall 2024. But this is the right time for the universities in India and the universities in the United States to get together and start discussing terms. If an Indian university is interested in finding US partners, it should consult their own faculty who have US degrees and postdoctoral experience. It should consult their alumni working in US universities as professors, and in some cases, they may be graduate students there. And the Indian university should contact Education USA through a US consulate's website. The Indian university should identify the STEM disciplines in which its students and faculty members excel. It should identify the interest areas of their own students for higher education. And it should then contact potential US partners and simultaneously develop some relationships with Indian lenders in order to ease the financial arrangements that their students will have to make. Finally, in next month, I shall be visiting Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and New Delhi. And I invite you to contact the appropriate US consulate if you would like to schedule an appointment with me about the participation of your university in US-India higher education partnerships. Thank you, and I will be happy to take questions.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. It was a really insightful session, and I'm sure most of the information were very crystal clear. But still, if we seek any clarification, any member, those who have logged on, can ask any question if they need any clarification. One by one, anybody wants seeking any clarification, you can raise your hand.
In the meantime, Dr. Pani, there are some questions in the chat. You can take them up.
Yes, ma'am. One question was there, ma'am. How can a self-financing university?
नहीं वो तो ठीक है, वो तो हमारा था, वो हमने कर दिया. Like, what is the from Professor Lakhtakia? What is the difference between the requirement for similar research thesis and one single thesis for dual degree and joint degree? This was one of the questions by Dr. Aparna Rao.
Okay. So for the joint degree programs, there has to be only one thesis produced, and that thesis has to be assessed separately jointly by the faculty members from both institutions. For the dual degree program, the same thesis is separately submitted to both partner institutions and is separately assessed.
Are you sure it is the same thesis or it is two different theses?
They can be bound differently.
But the content can be same.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain format differences, but apart from that, they can be the same. In both cases, they should have two supervisors, one from each university.
Okay, then somebody, again, Dr. Aparna Rao is asking about STEM OPT. Please share the OPT part.
Certainly, I mean, I can go through it again. So the United States government for many years has this optional practical training extension, whereby a student who finishes an American degree with a minimum residence period of 1 year, but it could be higher, can work with a US employer for 1 year. Okay, and must be paid the same wages that the market commands. After that period of 1 year, this person has to either return to their country or seek alternative ways of employment, whatever they are, as legally enforced at that time. So that particular optional practical training extension has been increased to a period of 3 years for those who have acquired an American degree in a STEM discipline. The STEM disciplines that are acceptable are decided upon by the Department of Homeland Security in the United States, and an extensive list is available.
Okay. Then there's one Namita Singh who is asking that you said PhD collaboration is difficult in terms of PhD degree. If we take one supervisor from US and one from India, what kind of ranking is required for the collaboration of any degree offered by Indian University with HEI in US?
Okay, so I said it is the joint degree program is difficult because the joint degree, the thesis has to be assessed, but the assessment procedures in India are of a very different kind from the assessment procedures in the United States. So in a US university, the thesis is assessed by 4 or 5 faculty members within the university. In India, the thesis is sent out to at least one person outside India, right? And so since the assessment procedures are so different, the time that is taken to grant the degree or to say that the thesis is suitable for a degree is so different that it would be difficult to implement. Legally, it raises the possibility that a thesis could be rejected by one institution and accepted by another, right? So I think that is very difficult. It's unlikely to succeed. But having a dual degree program, this is not a problem.
Just to add to Professor Lakhtakia, if you are wanting to know the ranking of the two institutions, so it is very clearly indicated in the UGC regulations that as far as ranking is concerned, the foreign university should be in the top 1,000 ranking, whether QS or Times, world ranking 1,000. And from Indian side, it should be, there are 3 conditions. It can be either of these 3 conditions. One is it should be in top 1,000. Second is it should be in top 100 of the NIRF ranking, which is the Indian ranking, or it should be rated as 3 and above by the National Assessment and Accreditation Council. So 300 and 1,000, this is a condition, either of the 3 for Indian side, and for the foreign side, it has to be in the top 1,000. So these are the ranking conditions. Apart from that, Dr. Lakhtakia has spoken about the evaluation of the thesis.
Ma'am,
But
somebody is asking.
that applies only to twinning, joint degree, and dual degree
Yes.
program.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll just finish these chat questions and then come on to the actual questions.
For the
How to
professional
apply
master
it.
for the professional master degree program, that condition will not apply.
And how to apply for PhD program, explain the fee structure, eligibility criteria. This is by Vikrant Uday Singh Chavan.
For the joint degree and the dual degree programs, well, these are generally to be explained on the website of both partnering institutions. I think a good idea would be to go through, for example, the IIT Bombay Monash Academy website. It provides a model of how to do these things.
And what will be the requirements for students who want to join the professional program in terms of IELTS, GRE or TOEFL, etc.? Avinash Kumar is asking this question.
That's a very good question. So GRE used to be almost universally required before COVID by US universities. GRE has 2 parts to it. One is aptitude, the second one is advanced. Okay. Aptitude was almost inevitably required, advanced very rarely. Okay. And the other requirement was of either TOEFL or IELTS, that is to demonstrate proficiency in English language. Those were required. During COVID, most US universities dropped the requirement for GRE. Obviously, it was difficult to conduct those examinations. And many US universities have not reinstated the requirement. So GRE is not really a major issue. Okay, but TOEFL and IELTS scores have to be provided by the applicant. Also, when the 2 universities are signing a collaboration agreement, they can state that the Indian undergraduate student must have a GPA of minimum GPA Okay, for example, 8 out of 10. I think that's the
In the home country, means
the
in
home
India.
country or something. Yes, so that can be done. And then in that case, they don't need a GRE. Even if GRE were required, if they have 8 out of 10 minimum GPA, then they don't need GRE. So those kinds of arrangements can be made.
There is a question regarding the paraphernalia and the formalities regarding the AICT approval something. Does the student need to get AICT approval or something to go for the one-year master's degree program?
None that is needed. According
Because
to
the
my
foreign
view of
university,
regulations.
it will not be required. Indian universities will require.
Yeah.
And medical programs can be offered in the dual mode?
That is a question beyond my knowledge. No, I think medical programs are regulated by the Indian Council for Medical Research on the one hand, and by the
National Medical Commission in India.
yeah. So that's very different. Yeah.
Then Himanshu is talking about the opportunities for the students to get the fellowship or scholarship.
That's a very good question, and I can straight away say that for professional master's degree programs, the answer is no. Why? Because a degree that normally takes 2 years is going to be granted in 1 year. Okay, what that means is without reducing the number of courses or number of credits, etc. Right? Okay, so if an Indian student has the ability to get an assistantship or a scholarship, okay, while pursuing the professional degree, well, I would be in awe of that person. It'll be very difficult. So no.
Okay. Then just bear with us, Dr. Anurag Singh, just 2 or 3 more questions which are on the chat, then we'll come back to you.
Sure, ma'am.
So there's one, the Kuldeep Dagar is asking, like, you're talking of 2 years master's degree program. So 2 degrees within a single year, will it compromise on the quality?
No, I'm talking about a 1-year master degree program.
So 1 year master degree. So if it is a dual degree, there will be 2 degrees within 1 year.
No. That is that's a professional master's degree is not part of the dual degree program.
Okay. So that cannot be offered in the dual mode.
No. And there is a way to work that out, but it will still take. So for somebody who has a degree in physics from India, for example, okay. Now, physics degree generally in India is a 3-year degree. And then a physics master's degree is a 2-year degree in India. So what they can do is they can take the 4th year as the first year of the master's degree in India. Then they come to United States, take the professional master's degree in the 5th year, okay? And the Indian university counts the credits they earned in the 5th year in the US as credits of its own, and then decides to award them a master's degree. That's a possibility.
Okay. So you're saying the professional master's degree credits are counted by Indian counterpart
could be counted
within
by
their own
Indian.
master's degree.
Yes, they could do that.
But a 4-year bachelor's is compulsory for a master's, for admission to master's.
A 4-year bachelor's degree is in the United States is considered compulsory.
So from India, if somebody has done 3 years bachelor's, he cannot get admission in professional master's degree.
I think that would be very difficult. I can't answer. There are 4,500 in US universities, so I can't answer for all, but it'll be difficult.
Okay, then I think I will go by Dr. Anurag Singh, and then we'll think if there are some more questions.
Thank you, Dr. Pankaj. And while I was listening to the whole conversation, a lot of queries, they were answered by you or Professor Akhlesh. But few things which are remaining, I'm asking. That first of all, whenever we are going for the association, so the vetting process would be done by the, say, the interested partners, I think. It would be like, if we are ready to go with the handshake. So will it be some body that will be facilitating this, or probably one-to-one, they have to look out for the partners?
Most likely it'll be one-to-one.
Okay, sir. One more
So
question.
AIU can be facilitating this.
Okay.
So we can be talking to their center. We can tell the Indian partners who are interested in such type of a degree, and maybe Professor Lakhtakia, being the chairperson of this program, he can tell us the possible partners, and then we can do the matchmaking.
So
Great.
I have to say this here that the US-India Higher Education Partnerships Committee, once it is fully operational, will look at these issues, because you see, some Indian issues may not occur to the American members and vice versa. Okay. And it will then decide on a suitable course of action. But in the meantime, Education USA is available as a resource to all Indian students who wish to understand the situation.
No, he's saying that if an Indian university wants to partner with a US university in running of these programs, so how do they approach the US university? So is there a possibility in which, say, AIU can tell the potential Indian universities who are interested and share the
Yes.
information with somebody in US so
So
that we
some-
both can do the matchmaking?
So some sort of a database has to be created.
Yes.
And we await the completion of the US-India Higher Education Partnerships Committee for that purpose.
So, madam, there are two more questions, if you permit.
Please.
Yeah, so I understand, Professor Akhlesh, that this is also open for the management programs also, the 2 years degree program which we offer.
Well, the dual degree programs, twinning programs, and joint degree programs are available for management. And some management disciplines have been classified as STEM disciplines also. For example, engineering economics. Okay. In that case, a professional master's degree should also be available for that. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So one last question. That since suppose we are going with any kind of a collaboration, twinning, joint, or a dual, so it means that I think then both of the university, they have to negotiate and have a understanding regarding the fee part, and it means that probably we have to communicate right at the very beginning of the program about the fee, because we cannot change the fee in between once the admission has been taken. So perhaps this needs a complete, I would say a greenfield project kind of a thing, or yeah. So this is a broad question in my mind. So
I agree with you. Now, there are ways of making it easy on both partnering institutions. And that is to say, first of all, a student can attend an institution only in units of 1 semester. Okay. And then the semester of residence, the student pays the fees to that institution. Okay. So this way, there will be no transfer of funds between the two institutions. Okay. Now, there will be some activities that may be common, just to manage. Okay. And in which case, my suggestion would be that the institutions bill each other for services rendered.
fine, sir. I rest my other questions. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Madam
Doctor-
Pramod Joshi, Dr. Pramod Joshi.
Yeah, hi, Professor Lakhtakia. Thanks for a very illuminating lecture. I had one question, which actually is an add-on to Professor Anurag Singh's question. If there is a BTech student, let's say in computer science, with interest in artificial intelligence and its applications in the fintech world, now, would such a student be able to join a PM program in a US university, and during his training in India, be taught both finance from a B school in the Indian university, and AI, of course, he's already getting taught. So would that be a possibility?
It could be. It could be. But you see, the timelines would have to be carefully managed, because you are trying to mesh two different kinds of courses. Okay. But it is possible to do that.
Thank you.
Any other question? We still have 10 minutes with us.
Madam, good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Ashok.
Professor Ashok Alur from Karnataka. and we recently met you. You are aware that we are 7 new universities in Karnataka. And we also wanted to explore how we can have institutional collaboration with higher education institutions in US. And since Lakhtakia is coming to Bangalore, we just thought we will explore some possibilities of meeting him during his visit to Bangalore. And I just wanted to know, one of his slides was showing that we should consult the US Embassy in Chennai. I just wanted to check with him.
Yes, indeed. I will be in Bangalore, I think, for 4 days, if I remember correctly, December 1 to 4, I think. And I would be delighted to meet you and other Carnatic universities. Yes, we'll be delighted.
What we will do, I will also request my other 7-8 colleagues. We are a new university set up by the government of Karnataka last year. And we are definitely interested in exploring some collaborations.
Are you a member of AIU?
Yeah, we have just become. Recently, we were in Belgaum. We met you in Belgaum.
Okay.
Madam, we can invite Professor Ashok to become a member of INI consortium also.
That will be very nice, sir. And please let us know. And if you can help us to have one slot of meeting him when he's in Bangalore for 4 days, that will be excellent. And if you can just pass on some contact details, I will in turn, write to them and then fix up a timing with.
So, Professor Lakhtakia, you want us to coordinate a meeting with all the vice chancellors, or you would like to take up
I would love if you do that.
Okay. So,
Please
Professor Lakhtakia, I don't have your phone number, but I have your email ID. So we'll get in touch with you. And Dr. Ashok, please let us know that who all vice chancellors. There should be a joint meeting. You cannot make individually that much of time.
No, I understand. I will at least call at least 10 VCs. We'll fix up a place in Bangalore, and I will write to you and also pass on Professor Lakhtakia's email and number to us, and we will write to him through you.
And on that email, etc., Dr. Mittal, please copy Ms. Van Orman, Carly also.
Carly, okay.
Yes.
Sure.
So please pass on the details. I will write to you to him, and maybe tomorrow day after I will.
So AIU address is sgoffice@aiu.ac.in, or you can write it on research aiu@aiu.ac.in. We'll put it on the chat.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Farooq has raised his hand. Mr. Farooq.
Farooq Shah. Dr. Anup Gupta, you want to ask some question? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Professor Pramod and Dr. Anurag has already asked the questions which I wanted to know.
Okay.
Professor Akhlesh,
we all are from the same university.
Great.
I was going to say great men think alike, but you said it differently.
Thank you.
So, madam, I think we should conclude.
If there are no more questions, I think we can.
I have submission, ma'am.
Yes.
Is it possible for Dr. Akhlesh to have a couple of sessions all over India, say one in North India, one in South India, and few more sessions, so that group of universities can participate in those sessions and get more information and clarifications if they would like to seek some clarification?
You're saying physical or
physical? Is it possible to have it physically?
It's certainly possible. As I said, December 1 to 4, I will be in Bangalore. And I think 5 to 7, I will be in Hyderabad. And then 8, 11, and 12, I will be in New Delhi. So yes, I would welcome interactions, physical interactions in face.
What are your dates for New Delhi?
New Delhi 8 and 11 and 12. 9 and 10, I want to relax.
Okay.
It's a weekend. I want to see my family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we should ask.
But if there is overwhelming demand, why not?
So in case we can get an invite to attend any of the interaction which Professor Akhlesh would be making in the New Delhi, That would be very kind of you, madam. I think you can only
Madam,
facilitate
I suggest we can keep it in American Center, provided Madam Kelly and our colleagues, Dr. Nitu Gori, and if they can arrange it.
We have to talk to them. We will separately talk and then arrange.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam, with regard to Bangalore, I can speak to our Higher Education Council and we can fix up a program in Higher Education Council. We can also keep all other VCs informed about his visit. And at least in case, I mean, as I told you, 10 of us will be there. I will request all my VCs of new universities. But in turn, we will also try to inform all other VCs in the state of Karnataka.
Please
I will
write.
write a mail to you tomorrow.
Okay.
In the meantime, if you can please provide details of Professor Lakhtakia, that will be nice.
Dr. Alur, may I also request if some authorities from the Visvesvaraya Technical University are also there?
I will definitely request the VC to be there. I'll request him.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think Mr. Farooq is still.
Is there any reason, Professor Lakhtakia, any reason you are not visiting the west coast of the country, like Mumbai or Pune?
Thank you very much, sir.
There's only so much time. And there is only so much time.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
So, madam,
And just to inform everybody that the recording of this particular webinar would be available on the AIU website. And Professor Lakhtakia, if you are able to share the PPT with us, we can also put it on the AIU website. That everybody knows.
I will do that. I will do that.
Please. Thank you.
Yes.
So, Dr. Pani, you can.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot, sir. It was a wonderful session. Many of the queries and things were clarified by you very succinctly by you and our Madam Secretary General. And we convey our gratitude to you, sir, for inviting you in a very, very awkward time. I understand the time difference between India and US, but we put you in an inconvenience, but still you came out and you addressed the gathering. Occasion. Thank you so much, sir. And in future, we look forward to invite you in many such occasions wherein we would like you to deliver talks on different themes and we can strengthen the Indo-US relationship. Thank you so much, sir. And we are especially grateful to our Secretary General, Madam, also for sparing the time. And friends, may I request you to kindly keep your Dr. K.S. Digari. Can you keep your... Yeah, it's okay. Someone else's microphone is disturbing.
Dr. Rana.
Yeah.
Dr. R.L. Rana. Dr. Rana, please. Yes. Okay. Proceed.
Yeah, thank you. So we are grateful indeed to our Secretary General, Madam, for her leadership, sparing the time. And of course, the participants, the active vice chancellors and the senior professors and IQS members. I can see a lot of people have logged into the program today. And we do jolly well understand that this was really not a very suitable time for all of you. After the office hour, you have just got back to home. But we invited you and you responded with an overwhelming response. You joined. So thank you so much. And we look forward. Actually, we want to strengthen the INHI consortium as a knowledge resource. This will be uploaded. This talk will be uploaded and earlier also. And under the series of webinars under INHI, we have uploaded some of the materials. We are requesting to all our members, if you have any best practices in internationalization, you can share with us. We can create a pool. We can create a repository on our website that will provide further insight. And it will be also a hand-holding step for other universities, those who are aspiring for the internationalization. So many thanks, all of you. And special thanks to our computer team and Dr. Sandeep, Susil, Dr. Usha, Shivam, all have really contributed and to make this program a grand success. And anybody who has become instrumental in directly or indirectly contributing to the success of this event, I convey special thanks to them. Thanks, everybody. Jai Hind and Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Professor Lakhtakia.
Very informative, very useful, very insightful session. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank
And
you very
thanks
much.
to all of you. Special
Thank you,
thanks to
madam.
Carly and Gauri for making it possible, and to Dr. Pani for steering it through.
Pankaj, you make these things happen, which are in the interest of higher education. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Madam, it was very enlightening and thanks a lot. It is a great initiative and we all will come forward and join hands and be
Sure.
part of this roof. From Aligarh
Thank
Muslim City, I'm Umar Pirzada, the Public Relations Officer.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.